Hi, I'm Dr. Kelly Barron, and welcome to the Kelfire Show. Today with me is the very lovely Sylvia Jones. And Sylvia is not only an actress, but she teaches women's fitness classes. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. But some of you that are watching this are going to question why a menopause and a perimenopause podcast, I have this beautiful 22-year-old on who clearly has not gone through menopause.
Not yet.
But there's two very good reasons why I have Sylvia on. One is I've never seen a woman more comfortable in her own skin and in the way that you move and I'm going to say it, femininity. I got it. I nailed it. And two, I take dance classes with Sylvia, and in our class, and it's pole fitness, the demographic I would think is largely in the 40s to early 50s. So Sylvia has seen these women, myself included, find that feminine energy and learn to express it. So I thought she'd be excellent to talk about body positivity, feminine energy, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you've really seen that. And you can speak on that.
Oh, yes, 100%.
I'll give a little background, too, because it's me and it's going to be a comedy show, probably. When I first I decided I want to take pole fitness and learn how to dance just because I wanted to try something new. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I called the studio and they said, what are you interested in and this and that? And I was like, I'm an athlete. I don't need the fitness part. I just want to learn how to move like a woman. And then I came in and I refused to buy heels for forever. Mm-hmm. I moved like a robot and I just kind of kept to myself. But the beauty of it was I just started to like really find out what it was like to be a woman that I didn't know before, to move, to feel. Just it was so awesome to just let go. And that's one of the things I discovered is heels. I finally bought heels. I now own 3 pairs.
Yes.
And in real life, I never wore high heels, ever.
Really?
Never.
I didn't know that.
You've seen me move. You know why I don't wear heels. But because of class, I wear heels everywhere now.
I was just about to say, I didn't know that.
Because I feel like it's a big part of feminine energy. It brings a lot out of you. You feel sexy. You put on heels, even though everybody around here can hear me trucking along the floor.
As they should.
And my brain, I look amazing. But anyways, let's get into it. The first question I wanted to ask you was, what is femininity? Yes. Or feminine energy. What does it mean to you?
Great question. I first just want to start off. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm
so happy to be here. So feminine energy to me, well, one, I like to stray away from the stereotypical ideals just a little bit and I created a meaning for me. And it really came when I started pole fitness. So I was a competitive cheerleader for 12 years. We were taught hands by your side, stiff, no movement, like get to where you need to be, do what you need to do, get off the mat. So when I started pole and they wanted me to loosen up and they wanted me to move my body and to look at myself in the mirror while doing that, I was like, whoa, this is a lot. This is a lot. So the biggest thing for me is letting go of the idea of trying to be perfect, trying to be sexy, and trying to be sensual, and doing things that make me feel good inside and about who I am. And then that is what started to come out in my dancing, and that's when I was able to find out what true feminine energy and power was. That's when my shoulders, when I walked into a room, my shoulders were back. I was looking at everybody in the eye. I was smiling. I was walking slower. I stopped feeling, uncomfortable when I walked into a room and people were looking at me because I knew who I was. I knew that this type of energy made me feel good, and I just dived into it. So for me, feminine energy is one, accepting who you are, truly accepting who you are, the awkwardness, the falls, the trips, your eyelash getting stuck, your eyes looking weird, all of that stuff, accepting all of that, and just allowing your personality to come out. Feminine energy has so much to do with your personality, more than just like how you carry yourself and what you're wearing. It's how you present yourself to others as a caring person, as a genuine person. So that's what feminine energy means to me, and I really found that through dance. And it was definitely a journey. It was not something that clicked overnight. And I would think probably within these last, I would probably 6 months, I really stepped into a different headspace about who I am and what I think feminine power is and how I want to portray that to other women.
And you see, I've witnessed fellow, we'll call them classmates, the other women that are in classes with us. In this age group, I mean, we come out of having kids and raising kids or working so much, and we've completely lost our identity, or maybe we never found it. But I have watched women, and this doesn't even have to be pole fitness, but just in general.
Oh, 100%.
When they find something, when they really decide they want to tap into it, they just, their whole demeanor changes, their attitude changes. Like I said, I started wearing heels. I'm 53, and I started now, and now I think, I'm just strutting around everywhere. But I've watched some of these women come in from their jobs, or they're just tired, and they just blossom because they let loose. When I think it's important when you, like you said, get out of your head and just say it's okay for me to be weird and freaky or fun or not the definition of what society has told me I am.
Yes.
And just like, it's okay. There's no wrong answers. There's no wrong way to be. And have you seen women, once they let loose or come out of their shell, their self-esteem and their self-confidence, is there a noticeable difference because you observe it every day?
Totally. So most women that come in that are over the age of 35, their first class, they come in and they've been told, my whole life I've been told I'm supposed to look like this, and this. And I don't look like that. My whole life I feel like I look weird whenever I dance, so I don't dance. And when I first hear that breaks my heart, because you know me, I'm the first person to hype somebody up. I will be there. I am in your corner. Like, I don't care if you do look a little off doing something. I am going to be there for you to let you know it is okay to keep going in what you're doing. And so it is so powerful to see. So first class, women usually come in probably like gym shorts or like a tank top, and they're in the corner and they're kind of just looking at me. And then once they start letting go of, again, trying to be perfect, trying to meet the standards of society, that's the biggest thing I say in my classes. Throw whatever society says out the door. Curtains are closed, doors are locked. This is for you to do whatever makes you feel powerful, feels confident, sexy, all of that good stuff. So seeing them from class 1 come in like regular gym wear, and then as time goes on and they start coming into classes, they're shedding layers, not just like clothes, but they're also shedding layers emotionally as well. And I can see that because they come in and tell me, they're like, I had a really shitty day at work today. Like, everybody was just on me, and I just need to dance. Like, I just need to move my body and just let loose. And I'm like, okay, perfect. Let's turn the music up, lights down. Like, don't take yourself too serious, and let's go. Like, forget about what happened today. Let's take 3 deep breaths and lock into this hour of loving and moving our body, because that's all that matters. Even just 1 hour a week of doing something for yourself can change how you carry yourself throughout your entire life. And I think that, honestly, that's the biggest blessing of my job, is seeing women that are older than me find their power again. Like, it's so empowering. Just for me, my mom didn't work growing up, so I never saw like a woman in power. Technically, she was more like the housewife, and which is fine. She did what she needed to do for me. But seeing your classmates, y'all come in that day one and y'all are these most extravagant women, have all these, I mean, your job is amazing. You have a podcast, come on. But seeing y'all come in and not have that confidence, I'm a little sad at first because I'm like, I look up to y'all so much. I'm like, y'all are literally the it girl. Like, y'all are amazing. And so being able to be a part of the journey of watching y'all grow into even more powerful women is just so rewarding for me.
And I think you hit it perfectly. We come in because we've lived quite a few years, and whether we're done raising kids or we've gotten to a position in our career and we're like, now what? Like, we're useless. We always say that with like menopause, like biologically your job is done. So now you're just marching on to death, and that's, where do you go? What do you do? And you can see it in everyone's face. They're sort of like hanging their heads, or they're quiet, or their self-confidence is completely gone no matter what they've achieved in life. So I think it's really important, and I'll ask you, and you can apply this to your life too. It doesn't have to be in that age group, but like finding self-care or self-love, something, whatever ritual that is, to really try to bring that out of yourself. And so, like, is there something that you do, like I'm trying to do this in my life now, to win that feminine energy back or find it back? Something you do that makes you feel sexy, whether it's lighting a candle every night, or a bath, or putting heels on, or what do you do that helps you to, besides dancing, that helps you tap into that like sexiness and make you like bring that out in you?
I'm a big believer in affirmations. You have to feed your brain. It's so easy for people to get in their head and get in those negative thoughts, and you have to reprogram your brain to not think like, oh, like I don't look good or I don't feel good. And it's like, I will literally step into the mirror if I'm really having an off day and just be like, you are beautiful, you are worthy, you are smart, you are powerful. If some days or some weeks I'm having a really hard time, I'll write it out there. I'll write it on my mirror, so I have to read it every day. Because we do need those reminders. We need those reminders. It's so easy, especially with the way social media is.
Yeah.
And the way society is, to put so many standards on women. Like, you should look like this, you should talk like this, or whatever it may be. I think it's important to just understand you are worthy just the way you are. And you just have to truly believe that. And for me, it really is affirmations, because the more I say it to myself, the more I believe it.
Sexuality. I love this topic.
Yes, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Let's get into it.
I find, like, me, myself included, and again, I keep repeating this, women in this age group, we sort of lose it. Or we're not sure, like, it's been, the monotony of life has, like, taken something that's a rainbow and turned it into just gray. And getting that back, like, we have another 50 years theoretically, like the whole other half of our life is left.
Yeah, like the life is not over. There's so much more to do.
And feeling sexy, looking sexy, sexuality, sex itself, this should be like a new wave. Like, oh yeah, now. Yes. Like there's no kids, or we've made it in our jobs. We don't have to stress out so much. How do you see that? Do you see that in women, like that pours out when we let go? Do you see that sort of like tapping into that sexual energy, not necessarily feminine energy, but that whole sexual side, and allowing ourselves to be like, it's okay to be a sexy beast, just because we're getting older?
I 100% can see it in classes, and it's honestly, it's the little things. I can see sparks in people's eyes when they're looking in the mirror, when they hit a move and they look at themselves. I can see a spark, and it's like, oh, they're really feeling this. They know they look good. They feel good. It's also tracing, when they're tracing their body. And because, again, as society says, women shouldn't feel on themselves, like, don't do that, that's behind closed doors, all that. No, like, it's okay to touch your body. Like, it is okay to be like, damn, like, I look good, and, like, want to express that. So really, really seeing, like, tracing and, like, them taking it slow and feeling every inch of their body, you can feel, like, that sensual energy coming out of them. And especially, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. It's so nice to see people drop into that. And I think it takes letting go of what you've been told your whole life and making your own version of what you want your life to be, how you want to live, how you want to feel. And you just have to take your control, take your power back. And I know society tells you that, like, it's a little too late. Like, oh, you had kids, you're done, great job. No, you could still conquer the world. Literally still do whatever you want. Yeah. You just first have to really believe it in yourself, and or find a hype queen that'll help get you there and help you feel that way as well.
That is very true. And I think, like, one of the things I've noticed is, we're going through all these, like, and you have so long before you have to get to this, but think PMS. Mm-hmm. And we're coming in and we're going through our days, but then we'll come in and you're like, the 52 million symptoms that you will not have to deal with for a while, but we're hot. You're constantly turning fans on and air conditioning and things like that. And we have to go through that. And we're like, and it's embarrassing. But then when you let go and you're like, it's okay if I'm sweating and this one over here is also sweating, or I'm bloated or something, and my body is just like, and you walk through life with that, and we start to almost devalue ourselves and lose that energy. But when I see everyone, in class, or mostly in class, and we're like, okay, we're going to put the music on, we're going to tap in, we're going to feel ourselves, and everybody, that goes away. Mm-hmm. And you're like, you know what, I can walk around and I can be bloated and I can be hot flashes and I could, like, lose, like, a lot of women will lose their libido, their sex drive will tank out, which is why I think doing something to tap into it is so important. Mm-hmm. But then you start to come out of that shell and you're like, it's okay, I'm dripping sweat down my body, but it's okay, I've got it.
I got it.
These heels look fabulous today.
You're shaking because your calves are burning.
Yeah. So another question I have, and this is a good one for you. Yeah. Because you are a queen of fashion, and you're younger, so I'm sure you'll experiment more with fashion. But how do you think clothing, you kind of hit on it earlier, clothing and fashion brings out a woman's feminine energy?
I can honestly talk about this a little bit from personal experience. So I think for a lot of women, we tend to wear larger clothes sometimes to feel more comfortable, to hide away. Not skin tight, so you can't see if I'm bloated, so you can't see if I'm sweating as much and all that stuff. So I think it's really important to find what actually makes you feel beautiful. So if that's not the shortest shorts and the tiniest top, then that's a-okay. But I don't necessarily think it might be like the baggiest shorts and the baggiest shirt. Like, we have to find a middle ground in what's safe and comfortable for you. And I think it goes back to, one, as women, y'all know shopping is terrible.
Horrible.
It's literally terrible. I'm a different size at every single store, so it makes you not want to shop ever. And also, clothes are made for different body types, and I feel like a lot of women don't know the specific clothes that look good for their body type, me included. I'm doing a lot of research on this right now because I do want to find, like, my true style and what makes me feel powerful all the time, because I still have a lot of, like, older clothes, and when I put them on, I find that I kind of take a step back sometimes, and when I walk into a room, my head isn't up as high. I'm not looking at everybody. my shoulders are down a little bit, and I'm kind of just trying to go into a corner, and I don't want anybody to look at me. But when I walked in today with this outfit on, nobody could tell me anything.
No.
You couldn't tell me anything walking in here. I had no idea where I was, and I was like, oh, I own this place.
You did. You came all the way down that hallway, and I was like, I need to tap into something.
I own this place, and I was looking around like, I am here. Everybody, if you want my autograph, take it. So I just think, one, exploring different clothes, even if like you're like, oh, this is, I feel all of us will see something like, oh, that's so pretty, but it wouldn't look good on me. Try it.
I agree.
Try it. You don't know that. I have done that before. I'm like, this is so cute, but like not for me. And my friend was like, why don't you just try it on to see? I was like, what?
I think if more women in that, 40s and 50s, we just need to start wearing it. We don't need to listen like, oh, that's too young for you.
No.
That's too young for you. Y'all, your men are going to love it if you put on some heels and a tight dress. Don't be afraid.
No. Keep up with the times. Why not? The world is evolving, so should you. Why should you be stuck in those old beauty standards when there's new beauty standards?
And so this is a good question. As younger, when you're out and about wherever you are and you see women in this age group, like what goes through your head? Do you think, oh, like they're moving on now, life is just passing them by, look at them go? Or I guess it's just what crowd you end up seeing, but do you go, oh, when I'm at, actually I heard you say this, you said when I'm at your age and a bunch of us, I hope I'm still doing this like that. Like, is that truly what you think? Like, how do you see yourself at 40 or 50? I guess that's where I'm trying to go with this long-winded rant.
I honestly, I hope I'm still very much in my fitness journey. I think that is so important. And of course, I would love to like have a family by that time, have a life, but I want to have so much for myself as well. And just as a woman to be like, oh, I've done this, that, and the third. I've traveled the world. Hopefully by then I'll be like a master at pole or something. And I'm not just saying this because we're really close, but you and your other classmates, like I genuinely look up to y'all so much. I hope can reach that power that y'all have. And I think sometimes y'all forget that power that y'all have. And I know I impact y'all, but y'all impact me way more than you would ever know.
Well, that's awesome. That's good to hear. My ego is huge.
You're helping somebody else. Head's blowing up.
I just had this conversation actually, that we tend to not women in general, but especially as we get older and we kind of forget who we were when we were your age, we don't understand the power we have. And if we tapped into that power, if we understood how we can influence the room, how we can influence other people, and I don't say that like influence in a bad way, just like what your presence does. You can change a conversation without even doing anything. If you just, like you said, walk in a room, hold your head high, understand what's inside of you, and that you're not just this woman who's doing the daily thing. Like you are someone, and you bring that. So this is a question for you, and it's kind of in this topic. What advice would you give a woman who's struggling with her sexuality or feeling sexy or just her feminine energy in general?
First step, let go of any expectations, standards, or anything that makes you question if you can be that person. So what I mean by that is back to stereotypical things. Like don't try to follow everything society says. Everybody's journey is different when they're finding their feminine power, sensuality, sexuality, and anything in that realm. So you really have to take a step back, and you have to have fun. You gotta let go. You gotta turn that brain off. And I think the best way sometimes is to crank up that speaker.
Yes.
So you can't hear those thoughts. And even if you look crazy, like my favorite thing to do in the studio if I'm having an off day, after class is in, I turn down the lights, I blow up the speaker, and I just dance around like a crazy person. And Kelly, you know, like I know full routines, like I know crazy things, and I'm just like hairs flipping, jumping up and down, and just being a girl, being a kid, playing again. It is so important. As women get older, we're told not to play. We're taking care of people. We're giving. We're giving. But what about ourselves?
Yeah, I think that's
we still like to play. We still like to have fun. We still like to goof around. And so I think once you become more comfortable with being goofy or silly and letting go and allowing your true personality to shine, that other stuff is a lot easier to tap into. Because if you're not okay with just being you, those more taboo things are a lot harder to tap into.
Yeah.
And that's why I always say in classes, like, do not take yourself too seriously. And, like, if I, like, buckle in my heels, like, I'm almost peeing my pants laughing. Because it is funny. Like, life is not that serious. And I think that's the biggest advice I can give, is to just be more lighthearted and not to take it so serious. We are put on this earth to be genuine, caring, and authentic to ourselves and to others. And everyone deserves to feel like who they are as a person is important, is valued, and you just first have to let go of some of those insecurities and those outside factors.
I have a good question for you. I guess it won't be such a struggle question for you because you do work with women in this age group, but when did you first find out anything about menopause? And what do you even necessarily, when you hear the word menopause, what do you think?
When I first heard about it, I was a little bit younger. I was probably early high school, and my mom started talking about it. Because my mom was going through it. And at that time, I was just like, okay, Mom, like, whatever. But then it was really when I started working at Inversions. I was working with women that were a little bit older than me, and I wanted to find ways that I could connect with y'all even more. And which we connect on a lot of things, but I wanted to make sure that I was hitting those intimate things that were really important, that even though I may not be going through, I can still be a listening ear and still be there for you and encourage you and help you in any way possible. So I did my own like little bit of research and stuff like that. I honestly, I wouldn't say I understand it completely. I know most of the symptoms of it better than like what it truly feels like internally and how it makes you feel just as a woman in general. So I would love to hear that from you, from your perspective.
Well, what symptom that you've heard of freaks you out the most? That you're like, I hope I don't get through that. I hope.
This is a very basic one, but honestly, night sweats. Waking up in the middle of the night sweating is one of my least favorite, especially with curly hair. And if like I just washed my hair and I wake up, me and my roommate, we will set the temperature to 65 to ensure we do not wake up sweating in the middle of the night. So I'm going to say night sweats, even though it's a very basic one. I enjoy my sleep.
I would say, so and I mentioned this on my little menopause and martini thing,
Mm-hmm.
but when it first hit, and you wake up and you literally, your mind doesn't comprehend like, oh, I'm perimenopause or menopause, these are symptoms. I was like, this feels like when my milk came in when I was pregnant with the boys. I'm like, what is going on?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, did I pee the bed? Like, it's really wet in here. And then you're like, well, is it hot? What is it? It's not fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, now I have to wash the sheets. I'm drenched. And then my twisted little brain, I'm like, but did I lose weight?
Am I?
Did I dehydrate myself? Are my abs gonna look really good? Because I'll take that with night sweats.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, that's one of the more uncomfortable.
And you know me, I'm already a sweaty girl.
Yeah.
I am already a very sweaty girl whenever we're working out. So I'm like, okay, all right, I'll prepare for that one. Noted.
So I have 3 fun questions for you.
Okay.
But we're gonna gear it towards menstrual cycle versus menopause.
Okay.
So if your period was, if you could name it, if it was a cocktail, if it was a drink, what would the name of it be? What would it be?
Mine would be like a rum punch or something with punch in it. That's how I would describe it. Because when I'm on my period, it literally feels like someone has like punched me to the point where like I'm so
really
sore. I'm like so sore. So like a rum punch or something that along the lines with punch in it will do it justice.
I like that because if it was menopause, it'd be like a punch in the face.
Yeah.
My cocktail I picked was a Long Island iced tea because there's like 5 different liquors in there, and I was like, 5 circles of hell.
Yep.
And it doesn't even really taste that good, but this is what you're stuck with. Like you go into your parents' liquor cabinet, you're like, damn it. Yeah, well, this is what I'm going to do.
It'll get the job done, I guess.
All right, so if you could change the name of menstrual cycle or period, what would you call it? It's a tough one.
I'm trying to think.
I know that I personally went with Dante's Inferno. If I could rename menopause because it's hot.
I would just, to keep it long, 3 weeks of hell. Because the period is not just that 1 week. You have that week before where you're like, everything's wrong. I don't feel good. I think I'm going to cry if anybody looks at me the wrong way. I could eat everything in sight. And then you have your period and you're like, okay, it's scraping. Everything hurts. I can literally feel my uterus unattaching itself. Great. And then you have that last week where you're bloated. You feel gross. You're just icky. So the 3 weeks of hell. You get 1 normal week, 1 good week of feeling good.
I'm gonna rain on your parade for when menopause comes, because things just start going screwy. Like you're once you get into that rhythm and you're like, I'm 28 days, 32 days, whatever it is for you, mm-hmm. and then menopause or perimenopause hits, not menopause, mm-hmm. and all of a sudden, if you had like, I don't know how you run yours, but if like, okay, I can get the multi-box of tampons. So mm-hmm. I've got that, ultra, the super plus, super, and then light, and I know my days.
Yep.
Now, you start off and you're like, oh, it's super light. And it's like Monday, Tuesday, we're super light. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's just like, what just happened? And the floodgates open. And then it goes for like 10 days. And then you're beautiful. Like, oh, okay. And then it stops. And you're like, okay, well, now I'm going to schedule my wax because like my period stopped. And 3 days later it starts again. And you're mm-hmm. like, this is not what I signed up for later in
mm-hmm.
life. And so that's what it'll do. It'll do all these crazy things like that. So get ready for that.
I'm actually worried about my next couple of cycles. I just stopped taking birth control. I've been on it for almost 7 years now. And I got on it when I was younger because my period would literally take me to the floor. I couldn't go to school. I had a heating pad. I was crouched over. I could not move. And then I've been on it for the last 7 years. And I've switched around, of course. And then I finally just was like, I'm don't know if I want to keep putting this in my body. I don't know if I want to keep doing this. They say you can be on it for, I think some doctors say 10 years. I don't know for sure. And I decided to stop because I wanted to see what I would feel like without all of those, like, hormones, like, in my system. So I'm actually really nervous for my next couple of periods without birth control.
Well, you're actually kind of tapping into, like, what we're all going through, like, because our hormones are going berserk.
Yep.
And by doing that, you're tasting a little bit of that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's been a month now, and I've already, like, had to be like, whoa. I've actually been able to control my emotions. I've noticed this in, like the last week. I struggled in the past with letting my emotions control me rather than controlling my emotions. So, like, if I was sad, like, I was just, like, sad. I couldn't get myself out of it. I was just like, no, we're sad. That's it. That's all. And now I was this week, if I was feeling maybe a little anxious or something, I was able to talk to myself. And I was able to, like, regulate those feelings. I let myself feel them. I validated them. And then I let them go.
That's a really good point, because our emotions, when you're going through this and your estrogen's dropping and testosterone's dropping and you don't even know it's a storm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we get lost in that, and we go towards the negativity. We're like, I can't deal with this, and I'm sad, and this is going to last for years. And I think if we did more like, hey, this is a natural part of life, like, it's fine. It's not fun.
Yeah.
But if we accepted it and said, it's okay to be sad today, and it's okay to be a cranky bitch today. It's okay. It's okay, and find the positive in it. I think it's a really good point.
It's all about mindset, and I've really had to learn that within the last year, because I did go through a breakup in this last year, and I had to really work on my mindset and who I wanted to become and how I wanted to step in my power and how I wanted people to perceive me and how I wanted to be treated. And it all starts with how you think about yourself on the daily basis. So every day, if you're like, oh, I'm so lazy, like, I'm bloated, I suck, I can't do this, I can't do that, you're going to manifest that into your reality. But if you switch that around and be like, I'm worthy, I can do this, this is coming for me, I'm going to grab a hold of whatever you want to take control of, you will start speaking things into existence and be able to live the reality that you are truly happy in.
I couldn't agree more.
I love manifesting. I love speaking things into existence. I really do believe in it. And if anything else, it's at least keeping me positive in my head.
Last question.
Okay.
You've been so kind as to talk so freely and for so long and so well. If your menstrual cycle, had a theme song, what would it be?
This is going to be funny because we danced to this song, but that song Closer that we danced to with all of those, like, weird sounding, like,
with the beats,
drops. Yeah, all that.
That's really
because that's
good.
like the emotional roller coaster, the different depths you feel, and all that stuff. That song, for sure.
Well, Rachel, our lovely producer over there, she had an excellent idea, so I'll put that on there.
Okay.
To, like, start finding out these theme songs from everyone and creating a Spotify playlist. So it's going to be like your menopause or we'll call it something, but we'll put all these songs on there. And so that's the first one that's going to go on there.
Oh, yeah.
I chose Welcome to the Jungle because it's hot.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you don't know, think of a symptom as a crazy predatorial creature out there, like a tiger or this or that, and it's just freaking coming from you, and you're just running from your life. And also because Axl Rose was really hot when he was young. So Axl, if you want to come on the Menopause podcast, I would really you're in your 50s now. It's okay, you can do it. Come on.
You should.
But Sylvia, thank you so much for coming on today and for sharing and for opening. It's a sensitive topic that women don't really want to talk about, or they feel like they can't talk about it, and you did so well. And for 22 years old, I can't wait to watch you grow, because you're actually going to be the role model women my age look at. and how comfortable you are and how you bring that out. So thank you so much.
And thank you for having me. I will talk about this juicy stuff anytime.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
So if you liked what we talked about today or even mildly entertained, please subscribe to the YouTube, to Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, social media, Instagram, anything. I'm learning TikTok. I'll get Sylvia to help me with that. But thank you, and we will see you next episode.